Hello everyone and welcome to my video. Today we're going to talk about Martyn's Law because we're going to talk about lockdowns, particularly school lockdowns, but this will apply to all public areas. This was brought to my attention by someone who emailed it to me, or I think they may have contacted me about it. So what is Martyn's Law? This came from after the Manchester Arena terrorism attack that we're told about. There was a concert, there was lots of children there, and there was a Manchester Arena bombing. This man, who I'm uncertain about, but he's done a lot of videos on this just here, and he's also going through a court case about this at the moment. One of the alleged victims is bringing a case against him. Bit similar to the Alex Jones situation with a school, if you recall. So I'm not sure what to make of that, and I'm not sure what to make of this man. But he does make some very compelling cases about it, so you may be interested in learning about that. I don't know. But surrounding this whole attack is a new law, Martyn's Law. Martyn's Law is a proposed legislation, so it's not been turned into a bill yet or an act yet, that seeks to improve the safety and security of public spaces. Any business or organisation that runs public spaces or venues in the UK is covered by Martyn's Law. This includes a broad range of industries from entertainment to hospitality, tourism and worship, from concert planners to hotel owners. Everyone must ensure their security measures align with Martyn's laws, requirements to ensure their customers' safety. Essentially, anywhere where people gather in large numbers, which would include schools, the law aims to standardise security measures to prevent and respond effectively to potential terrorist attacks. Now, there's already massive security industry and operation going on at entries of doors. I don't know if you've been to the supermarket lately, but even they have these electronic swing doors. Obviously, they're putting together all this technological kind of industry at the moment, and I suspect that this is actually to prevent certain people entering schools, like those who don't have ID. I expect, but I don't know, I could be wrong. However, what I've noticed over the last couple of years, after we had lockdown, I noticed a lot of schools, UK schools, having lockdown drills happening. Pupils put into lockdown after a threat sent to the high school. This happened locally to me as well. Wasn't that one, but it was another situation. These are happening all over the country. This is not a drill. Morecambe Grosvenor Park Primary School is on lockdown. There is a man with a knife, and these are going on constantly. Look, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. They seem to happen every week or so, just getting children used to locking down in school, from what I can tell. And I started noticing this happening in schools about 2 years ago. And one happened to me about a year ago. Maybe it was a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't know. But I was absolutely shocked by one of the school's responses to an email, a threatening email. They locked down the children in the school, and I think there was an email sent to the parents of the school children not to go to the school, but a lot of parents did. There was about 15 to 20 parents who did stand outside the school, so I think it was a failed lockdown attempt or drill. I didn't like what I was seeing, so I sent a email showing these regular situations with these lockdown drills happening in schools, and I wrote to my son's school, which is a different but nearby school, and I said, this is very peculiar that so many schools are suddenly locking down children within their schools and keeping them there against the parents' will, and this is because of emails or because someone's walking in the car park. I sometimes have to walk through the car park to pick my son up. It's quite ridiculous, the reasons they provide. So I suppose they're saying now, oh, there's a man with a knife. Now, I have also received emails from the school saying that strangers are harassing the children as they leave the school. So I've asked for a description because they've just said, oh, a man. And they will not provide a description because some of the police forces refused to provide one. Now, I'm on a boundary, so and the school is on a boundary, so there's a few councils which are involved in this situation because the children go home to their different counties and their parents report the crime or the stranger and the suspect to the police. Now, there are certain police who will not provide a description of the suspect, and there are other police who will. And in the case where they did provide a description, the man was Asian, which didn't come as a surprise to me, especially since I'm a victim of illegal immigrant rape. So it wasn't a surprise that that some police are protecting them. Now, I have started the process of a formal complaint against those police. I have seen that they post Twitter posts about hate speech and things, so I've started questioning them. What do you mean by that? And I'll talk about that in a separate video because this video is about Martyn's Law. So Martyn's Law is intending, I believe, to lock down people in those vicinities. If it is passed, this is why we need to make complaints to the schools if they are locked down or if there's local schools locked down, because you don't want this bill passed because you want to be causing as much commotion to those vicinities who may do this kind of thing, such as locking down children within their schools. Now, I contacted the school and I talked about kidnap. I stated that I would not be happy about my son's school locking him in there against my approval or consent. And if they ever did that because of an upsetting email, then I would bring charges against them for kidnap. Now, in the UK, distinguishes clearly between acts of abduction and kidnap. Abduction is defined as taking a person or child away from a person or place which he or she should lawfully be with. So if they're in a school and they are remaining in the school under the lockdown conditions, then they're not abducted, are they? Typically, this is where a person takes a child from a person or persons with parental control. The legal definition of kidnapping is to take someone unwillingly and then keep them illegally imprisoned without their valid consent. So I haven't willingly allowed for the school to imprison my son under those lockdown conditions. Lockdown is a prison term without my consent. So I did state that if they ever did that with my son, I would press charges against them for kidnapping, even if the police had provided consent or recommendations to do so. I also managed to get a couple of other parents to write in with complaints as well. The school did respond and said, no, we would not do that. We do have certain procedures that we go through, but we wouldn't do that. And I don't know whether that was because I made the threat against them or not. I don't know. But this is why I think that you should do that. If one of these lockdowns is happening near you or has happened, then just write to the schools and say, if you do that, I'm going to press charges against you for kidnap. It doesn't matter. You're making them aware that you are not happy. You've got it recorded in your emails that you are not happy with your child being locked down under these circumstances. You will go and collect them. If a man with a knife is there, they'll explain to them. What you can do is call the police and we will go to the school, pick up my child and remove them from the school, and the police will be there anyway because you will have phoned them. You don't need to lock him in. And so you just need to make sure that that's on record. And because it's on record, you have a stronger case against them, right? But I feel that this is what Martyn's Law is about, locking in the children and possibly locking parents away in vicinities away from the children. You never know. I mean, these people are psychopaths which are ruling over us. What are the provisions? Martyn's Law proposes several key provisions aimed at enhancing the security of public venues across the UK. They include compulsory risk assessments for venues to provide potential threats and vulnerabilities, development of comprehensive security plans, which is why I believe they're doing all these lockdown drills at the moment, tailored to individual venues. And this is why you need to make a fuss. If you do approve of a school locking down your children, then obviously it doesn't matter to you necessarily. But I wouldn't want the school doing that to my child. Increased focus on crowd management and emergency evacuation procedures. Enhanced training for venue staff in recognising and responding to potential security threats. Now, hypersensitivity to emails and someone strolling around in the car park to me is not a potential security threat, or certainly not enough for me to feel that they can imprison my son. Implementation of appropriate physical security measures such as CCTV and access control systems. And of course, this will be sold on. This is a new consumerist system for these public sectors. You know how you got the plexiglass that was supposed to save everyone from COVID, but then you'd stand at the end and be exposed to the cashier. It's just the same ridiculousness, but it's a little bit more concerning because they are given access to your children to lock them in. Regular security audits to ensure continued compliance and effectiveness of security measures. So some people will argue, well, this is good because they're keeping us safe, while others will say, well, no, we don't trust the government, so we don't want them having this ability to lock in our children without our consent. So you need to make sure that they find better procedures for such a situation than what they're stating. I mean, what you could do, instead of just locking the entire school within the building, you could phone the police, right? I mean, it makes sense. How is Martyn's Law different from existing regulations? While there are existing regulations and guidelines in place concerning public venue security, Martyn's Law goes a step further by making these measures legally mandatory. And once they start making them mandatory, then they can add further mandatory laws to that act. Previously, adherence to security standards was largely voluntary, leading to inconsistencies across different venues. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Inconsistencies could be a good thing because then you can see what works better than something else. It's like with injected people, those people who've never been injected, how do they compare with those who have been injected? Martyn's Law seeks to address these inconsistencies and ensure that adequate security measures are in place at all public venues nationwide. What are the challenges? People like me. So, what would be the consequences if you didn't follow Martyn's law? Enforcing Martyn's law is vital to ensuring its effectiveness and compliance. A law gives local authorities the power to carry out inspections and audits to assess businesses' compliance with the security measures outlined in Martyn's law. Failure to comply can result in penalties. So this is another money collecting situation as well, which all these then businesses have to pay out towards, which will absolutely cripple some of these smaller businesses. And it's intended to. Fines, closures and criminal charges. This is very much pitted against the small business. Remember, all the small businesses were being sort of feeling pressure to get the plexiglass? Do you remember that? Then they just ended up chucking it away because it was bloody useless. Compliant. Ugh, I hate that word. Compliance. Ugh. Anyway, so what they're security consultancies. So they'll start a new area of employment with consultants, security consultants, CCTV systems, access control systems, systems from companies like Honeywell, Bosch Security Systems and Assa Abloy manage venue access through mechanisms ranging from electronic door locks to biometric scanners. See, this is where they're coming in from UK Health Security Agency, because the UK Health Security Agency is trying to run this thing with health certificates. And they're going to do this, I think, from a perspective of a nationalist perspective. If you want a nationalist society, then, because I think they're going to have to appeal to those people first of all to get their certificates, then you'll have to get these IDs so that we can remove the illegals. And it won't happen like that. I mean, there's no intention to do that. The intent is to replace people. So this is something that you need to look into, I think. I'll leave links below for all of it, including this guy, the court case for hearing. You can do that yourself. School lockdown drill UK 2024. Kidnapping and UK Security Health Agency. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm being over sensitive, concerned? Do you think that all of this with the electronic lockdown doors and biometric scanners is necessary? Or do you think we just need more police, and police who are honest and able to deal with perpetrators who they don't wish to describe but should be? I'll leave it there, and I will talk to you in another video about how I am dealing with the police with my complaint on that matter, along with multiple other matters. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Bye.